Hey y'all, my name is Wyatt. I started my career in workforce development with the state of Kentucky in 2010. That experience ignited a deep passion for manufacturing within me. I started this show hoping to raise more awareness around the bright outlook manufacturing careers have. Join me as I sit down with some of the manufacturing industry's most successful changemakers and learn how they're partnering people with technology. It's time to give people more meaningful work. This is Workforce 4.0.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. We've got a very special guest for you all. We have from Phoenix Contact, the president of Phoenix Contact, Jack Nehlig. We are super excited to have you, Jack. You have no idea. And thank you for being here. And thank you for doing this for us today.
You're too kind, and it's exciting for me to also be with you because I love the whole premise of this show and the topic that we're discussing. I think it's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yes. Phoenix Contact is celebrating 100 years this year. It's your centennial year. And I wanted to try to capture that moment, of course, but also talk a lot about your passion for people within your company, and then how, Phoenix Contact is contributing to giving people more meaningful work. But before we get started on our conversation today, Jack, why don't you introduce yourself for those that are listening that are maybe not familiar with Phoenix Contact or your wonderful self?
Oh, gosh. So anyway, yeah, I agree with the wonderful company. I'm going along with it. I'm lucky to be co-branded with wonderfulness. So my name is Jack Nehlig. I'm the president of Phoenix Contact USA. So we are the U.S. subsidiary of a German company. We're a family-owned German company in the north of Germany. We're 100 years old, as you said, and we were founded on the principles of a terminal block, connecting wires, but over the many, many years grew into a full automation and control company. So we have big brother and sister peers like Schneider, Siemens, Rockwell. And then we have a lot of peers and competitors in the individual product areas, that we have. So we're now about 3.5 billion in sales worldwide, 24,000 employees in the US, much smaller number than that, but we're a significant part of it. And we have over 1,000 employees in the US. Our US operations comprises two things. We have our sales subsidiary, which is all about the sales and the marketing of the products to the customers. But back about 16 years ago, we started a design and manufacturing company also in the US. It's part of our umbrella. And we have about 200 design engineers and about 300 factory associates. So we design and build product off of North American needs and designs. So we're twofold here. So that's our makeup of our company. I've been doing this job for about 22 years now. This is my 22nd year with Phoenix Contact, and my first 19 years was with Honeywell in their sensing and control business. So I've been in the factory for 40 years, either on the sensing side or in the control cabinet, if you will, side, and all the connectivity that goes around that. So that's me, and that's our company.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love seeing all of the wonderful folks at Phoenix Contact and their content on LinkedIn and other platforms. You guys certainly, of course, I know a few of you personally, but you guys certainly seem like an awesome group with an awesome company culture. So we wanted to do our best and support Phoenix Contact today for that reason. And of course, I've got my Phoenix Contact hat on, as does Ryan Treece, the co-host of Workforce 4.0. Ryan, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Ed. So Ryan Treece, co-founder at Industry 4.0 Club with Ann. And then my day job is business development manager at Telit and our IoT platforms team. So working with a lot of edge cloud compute customers and protocol conversion. And actually companies like Phoenix Contact, working with their gateways. I know their PLC Next platform has been really impressive for us. So yeah, nice to meet you, Jack, and welcome to the show.
And thank you guys both so much for representing our little PLC Next. in our
Yes.
community. Our community. We look at it as a technology and a community, people that are trying to do control differently in the world. So this is really fun.
I
Yeah.
think Phoenix Contact has really done a great job of building a community as a company. And that's really, for me, you know, trying to dabble in this branding and marketing space, for me, that's super impressive because that's really, I mean, really and truly, that's really hard to do. As a company, establish your own community. And you guys are really just out there doing it. So,
Yeah, it's been a fun learning journey really on social media and building a community. You used to, in the traditional ways, you used to build your brand, but now we've all learned you got to build a community in addition, and social media has been a wonderful vehicle for doing that. So, and we all had to dive into a pool. We didn't know how deep it was. Good news, we didn't bang our heads on the bottom. But I got a lot of teammates, and we're all working at it really hard. Just notice I want to set that. Pardon me, I'm going to adjust my
absolutely.
head.
You were good. So diving into the formal conversation, you know, it is a tradition here on Workforce 4.0. The very first question that we have for any guest is, of course, what is your favorite karaoke song or just your favorite song?
So I don't like doing karaoke because I have a lousy voice. I like going to karaoke to hear the little jewels in the audience. When someone can get up and really bang one out, I just love it.
Man.
I love it. But I'll give you my current favorite song. I have many favorite songs in my life, but I'm a George Strait fan, so I'm a bit of a country western lover. And George Strait does a song, "I'm not here for a long time, but I'm here for a good time."
Yep.
And it is now my
Good.
all-time favorite song. I just love what he does. So
I love that. I've got
Yeah.
to listen. You know, George Strait was the very first concert I ever went
wow.
to. I was like 10.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Well, I've
I was
never seen him. I've never
huge
seen
fan.
him. I've never seen the guy, but
Really?
I love his music. Yeah, well, he's now he's sort of retired. I think I have my headsets all out of whack here, so I apologize. But anyway, I've never seen him, but I love his music. So
He had some good ones. Oh my goodness. All my
Great choice.
exes in
Great
Texas.
yeah,
choice.
X's in Texas, but I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. Is one we should all live to. So
I'm
Yeah.
gonna listen to that one.
oh, you got it.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's going on the playlist.
It's going on the list immediately. That sounds like my jam. I named this episode of Workforce 4.0 celebrating 100 years of people-centered tech, and I kind of gave a prelude to that previously in the conversation. But, you know, Phoenix Contact is celebrating 100 years this year. Woo!
Yeah.
And I just have to know, over the course of the company's history, how do you think that the industry itself has evolved? And then how do you think that the workforce of manufacturing and also automation controls has evolved?
Yeah. Well, I mean, over 100 years, a lot has changed, right? So, and
Right.
I can't be an expert on the first 60, that's for sure. But I've been
Well,
a
of
participant in the
course.
last 40. I've been a participant in the last 40.
Yeah.
And I'll take it in two pieces. I mean, our company and the way we participate in workforce is founded and grounded in our principles that we are a family-owned company. So when we tell our employees we want to be like a family, we actually have family owners. So there's no other outside investors. We have the original founding families, and now it's treed out a little bit, gotten bigger, right, with more families. But we have family ownership, and when I get the honor of attending global meetings, I can sit down and have dinner with our family owners, and they make it feel like a family. So that's what's great for us. We have our uniqueness there where we get to be a family. The rest of the world, the last 40 years, if you will, of workforce development and change and life, I think the big thing that happened, we all know about, right? If we're talking about manufacturing, is over the last 40 years, there was this retooling of the geographic footprint of manufacturing, right? So yes, we still manufacture in the US, but I think the number is about 12% of our economy only. In Germany, it's about 26 or 7% of their economy. And then, you know, depending on which country in Asia you think about, it can be a much greater percentage of their economy. So manufacturing moved east to Asia for a large part, but still in Europe, it's impressive how much manufacturing occurs. So the globalization of this workforce has what has really happened. And then I would just simply say right now, as an American and leading an American subsidiary of a German company, it's super exciting for us to see, a little bit of a reshoring and a reemergence of the manufacturing space. And, we all know what happened during COVID, and supply chain became a massive topic. So we learned some lessons there that we probably should have learned earlier. But as you've named this 4.0, and it's off of the coattails of Industry 4.0, and then Ryan, as a technologist, knows the convergence of so many exciting technologies and so many great technological developments has happened. And I like to argue, people just don't know what they don't know about automation and control and robotics today. They just don't, they can't even imagine what they could do. And with that great technology evolution that's occurred, we just need people to believe they can build things in the US. And if they believe it, we can all make it happen. And that's what's exciting. We're on a resurgence of the manufacturing community in the United States.
It is
Hopefully
so
that's the answer
exciting.
for you, Anne. Hopefully that's the answer.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, because we talk a lot about on Workforce 4.0 about how careers have changed in the last, 5 years with technology. I mean, there are job titles now that did not previously. When I graduated from Western Kentucky University, there wasn't a degree program for, or there wasn't a job title for, and we're kind of on this escalation of technology. And you just hit the nail on the head so perfectly when you said we just don't know what we don't know. And I mean, but it's so exciting, because for a long time, I feel like we got away from this innovation. As we think about kind of yourself, Jack the person, which you are an amazing person, by the way, an amazing leader. When I'm working with other people that work for your company and they're singing your praises as well, you've built such an amazing culture. I just know, right? I mean, as a recruiter, that's the stuff you want to look for.
Well, I do have to trust you, Ann, because you, as a recruiter, you know better than I do. You guys are in the back office checking things out more than I do. So if you say so, I'll believe it. Okay.
You run into employees of a company and they're all smiles and they're singing the company's praises, and when, especially if they feel like they have that personal relationship with the president of the company, which is very rare, it speaks volumes. So take my word for it. But over the course of your career and your own personal accomplishments as a human, I got to know what has been your biggest personal accomplishment to you in your own perspective.
Oh man, my personal accomplishment. One of my faults is I'm not a huge goal setter and say I go achieve something. So I'm more of a want to be on the team kind of person, right? Now, yes, I have the wonderful honor of leading a team, but I don't ever look at anything we've accomplished as something I've done. That's not me. I look at what we've accomplished as what we've done. And that's how I view my life, right? So, I would have to say my greatest personal accomplishment would be maybe a decision I made. I don't know. I've not had this question asked to me ever before, so it's hard for me. But I had about a 20-year career with Honeywell, and I was able to keep looking forward at the next job and the next job. And there were going to be some big decisions that I had to make, and I was going to have to maybe live in Europe or Asia and continue my leadership development. And then this opportunity come to Phoenix came along. I was running this Honeywell sensing and control business, and it was to come to Phoenix to a much smaller opportunity and to just lead the US, just run the US business. And they wanted me to do it for many years. Like there wasn't a career path beyond it. That wasn't the offer. The offer was, please go be a custodian of our US business and try to do a great job. So I downsized my career because at that time my boys were 2nd grade to 8th grade. And I viewed it that they were in the prime time of their lives and I was in the prime time of being a father. And I knew that if I would have stayed at my previous company, I would have been less and less present. So I think that's probably maybe the greatest accomplishment in my career and my life, that I chose not to go further and climb any more ladders, but to try to be the best dad that I could be at that time. So, you know, if I get my boys on here, they might have recommended I go take the other path. But I've always reflected on that decision and that I was just glad that I did it. Let's just put it that way. So maybe that's the best answer to your question, Anne.
Nice.
That's beautiful. Working as a parent with littles, I'm kind of tearing up because that resonates so much for me. You want to be there. That is the truth. I mean, you have a very small amount of time with your children before they just run off. You know, I know mine, his name is Phoenix. He's going to run off one day and just just leave me, you know. I mean, it's the truth and it's the way it is. It's the way it should be.
Yeah.
But just spending that time, what does that mean to you to be able to offer some of that same purpose with your employees? Because I feel like you also champion that type of purpose for them as well.
Yeah, you know, we all study leadership, right? And we all have learned our own styles and we all learned our own business cultures. In my LinkedIn profile, I talk about believing in positive leadership, right? So a simple thing. And the story I like to tell there is that when presidents or VPs of companies come and visit our company here, I often get on the agenda, give the corporate overview, and then we go for a tour. And I like to walk around and share some time with that executive. And when we walk by people, I stop and say hello, or I know them and I wave hi and I say their name. And several times it's happened where we get to the end of the tour and the individual has said to me, and this happened one big moment, and then it's happened since then, where the person looked at me and said, Jack, excuse me, do you know everybody's name here? And I said, well, quite frankly, no, because we're getting a little bigger. At that time, I might have had 300-400 employees. I said, but I try, you know, do my best. And the person looked at me and said, that's fascinating to me. And as soon as they said it, this bubble popped up in my head, you know, the word bubble. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And the word bubble said it was fascinating to me that it's fascinating to them that I know somebody's name. Right? And it just hit me. Like I didn't understand it. Like I would have never thought of that as a leadership competency, right? To just say hello to somebody and know their name. But to me, that's where it starts, right? Just individual respect, just knowing everybody's got their own journey. We all are who we are. And everybody's got to respect everybody for who they are and what they do for the company. And that's it. That's the foundation, you know, and then we believe in, it's not just Jack, it's the company also believes in a positive work environment. So when we welcome new employees and we tell them what we want to accomplish here, we have a little rule of thumb. We say, you know, everybody can have a bad day every now and then, but if you're going to be a Phoenix Contact employee, you can't have a bad day every day.
Yep.
It's just not part of our culture. And then there's leadership consistency there. So we spend a lot of time in my leadership making sure that we all behave that way as leaders to prove to people that that's the kind of environment we want and that's the kind of environment that they deserve. So
that's great.
Anyway, okay. And no more saying Jack's a wonderful guy. Stop that. I get embarrassed, Anna.
It's great leadership, though. I mean, that mentality that everything is a team win, right? Yeah. Everything is a group win. So it's hard sometimes to say, this is my win because everyone's involved, right?
Yeah.
And so I think too many people are too quick to say, hey, yes, I did all these awesome things. And it's like, you architected it, you did the go-to-market strategy, right? You tested it, like, it's always a group effort, especially
Yeah,
now
totally.
with technology development, right? And so I'm curious, Jack, when you walk into a manufacturing facility 20 years ago versus today, I mean, I think your product lineup has grown significantly. And
Mhm.
so how different are you looking when you're walking these manufacturing floors, right? So when I was selling machine vision, I was looking for certain things, right?
Yep.
But now there's so many, I guess, offerings. Like, what's your favorite thing to kind of focus in on? Or what are you usually looking for when you're walking the floor?
Yeah, two things, Ryan. It's a great question. Well, when we as providers of automation control, we walk and look around at every control cabinet we can find, right? And then usually they're closed, so it's hard to look what's inside them. But sometimes they have windows on them or they're open, and we love doing that. We just love seeing that. And at panel builders is the best, right? When we go to a panel builder or a system integrator and they have their panel building shops, oh man, are we just in heaven when looking at those things. So now, but if I go to a manufacturing facility itself, like where they're building things, the end customer of the panels that are being built,
Mm-hmm.
I love looking at two things. One, how they're visualizing their data
Yes.
and embracing digitalization on the floor, like their workflow. Do they have tons of paper? They know what, that kind of thing. Because
Mm-hmm.
paper versus digital isn't about paper. Paper versus digital is about being able to use analytics and data better
Yep.
later
Real time.
or in real time or dynamic,
Yeah.
right? So when you see that they've really embraced it, like if you go in our factories now, we have screens up, and so they don't use work instructions or bill of materials anymore. It's all on computers,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's these big boards that tell them the output. And so when I see they embrace digitalization, then I think, okay, this company's kind of got it and they're heading in the right direction, right? And then the second thing I love looking at is their ability to embrace some form of robotics.
Mm-hmm.
And we all go to the material handling shows and the automation shows and watch these cool robots doing things.
Oh yeah.
And we've put them in here. We're just getting going. We've got many more we're going to do. But watching a robot get added to a production line where we didn't have anything packing the box. So, you have to geometrically pack the box,
Mm-hmm.
the small carton that might have the 50 or 100 doodads in it, right? Which we would call terminal blocks or some other product.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we have cobots doing that work where we used to have machine operators doing that work. And the machine operators are in charge of the machine, the work order, keeping the parts full, making the machine run properly. They're smart mechatronics techs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were wasting half of their day having them pack boxes. It was ridiculous. It made sense when we put the production line in 10 or 15 or 20 years ago when robotics was too expensive.
Right.
But now for 50 grand, you can stick a cobot on the end of a production line and it
Yep.
can do all these. And the workers love it because they can't
Yes.
stand that stuff.
Yes.
It's facts.
That menial kind of repetitive, low brain power task, right? That's a perfect application for robotics. And
Yep.
and
Absolutely.
I love the focus on, yes, these people are very skilled at troubleshooting, right? So this robot is going to pick it up and it's going to place. But there's all those moving parts leading up to that, right?
Yep.
Like you mentioned, are the parts fully stocked? Are the finished products being pushed out
Yep.
the other end? So I love that application. People are fearful for automation sometimes. So to hear that use case, it's great.
And then back to your statement about the part about the workers being high tech, and I brought that up. But the point with that for workforce development is, as we added more automated machines into our factories here, the more we needed technically trained operators, right?
Sure.
And we could find people, but what you really want is a 2-year tech degree embedded into that worker. And usually the 2-year tech degree folks ended up in laboratories or design environments and not so much in the factory, because we as manufacturers were guilty of not thinking that an operator of a machine needed to have a degree, right? We didn't think that. We thought that was maybe overspending on it or something. So anyway, we got this going here, but then we found that there were no mechatronics programs at the tech schools. They had electronic tech or mechanical tech, and what we do nowadays is mechatronics. It's electronics plus mechanical principles. We worked with local trade schools here, and we got the first mechatronics tech school program certified in the state of Pennsylvania and locally.
Nice.
And so what we do now is we take a couple kids out of high school each year. We make them interview for the job. We put them in this program, and they spend 6 months in school, and then 6 months in the factory, 6 months in school, 6 months in the factory, off and on for 4 years. And then they get a 2-year mechatronics degree, and they have a job going out because they always had a job the whole time. The other thing we do is we pay them 12 months. We pay them while they're sitting in class as if they're our employee.
Nice.
Wow.
So we having these great workers, these high-tech pieces of equipment. So of course I want to get rid of all the dumb work that they're having to do, the non-value added work, right? Because I've made a big investment in those workers, and they've made a big investment in me to be a great machine operator. The other fun thing with our company is part of their training program. One of the 6 months where they work for us, we send them to Germany, and they get to see all the headquarters and all the really big machine operating communities and all the machine build departments, because we build our own machines. It's really exciting, and they have a blast doing it. So
for an 18-year-old,
yeah,
that
an
would
18,
be
19-year-old.
I mean, that would be just world right there.
I didn't get that till my late 20s. That's an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate the not having to have the burden while they're in school and paid. I haven't heard of anyone else doing that.
Have you had good retention rates with that?
Oh yeah, huge.
Absolutely.
Fantastic retention rates. Yeah, it's really been fantastic.
Yeah, that was always something too that would come up when I worked for the state in workforce development, was the need to have the electrical and mechanical skill sets. And I mean, kudos to you all for getting the mechatronics program started, because I think that's still kind of a missing piece to a lot of the trade schools and tech colleges out there.
Yeah, because there's no longer that separation. Yes, you can do a job in the factory, maybe building fixtures for assembly, right? You can do that. And that's purely a mechanical thing. But if you're going to run an automated machine, you better know the mechanical parts of the fixturing, the drive chains and diverter gates and all the and the hoppers,
Pneumatics,
the vibrated bowls. But then you better be able to turn that machine off and on and figure out what's going on and wrong in the program and the programming of it, so that you can keep it running, and then maybe even analyze your output and make changes and recommendations. So you've got to be both nowadays if you're going to be an automated machine operator.
The efficiency gains there. Traditional from the past few years that I've seen, you have a whole maintenance team that's their entire responsibility.
Yeah.
But I've waited on a lot of plant floors for a really long time for the radio maintenance call, and solving 90% of the issues right away. You have the right person there, the right training, troubleshoot, get it online. I mean, that's got to increase the throughput and productivity.
Yeah, you've nailed it, Ryan. You've nailed it. Those great operators can solve. You hit it. It's like 90% of their problems. And sometimes they're tough problems, but they know how to do it. Even they have spare parts nearby and they can go do it themselves. And then they have the deeper tech machine repair people that can come if they need them. But they do. You're right. That was the big gain of really training those folks up. The throughput is much higher because they don't have to wait for somebody to fix the machine for them.
Yeah, and I've been on some plant floors where the operators are actually, there might be like a welding tip there. They might shove something in it so they get a 15-minute break until maintenance comes around. We've all seen these kind of scenarios, right?
We have. And that's really frustrating for the operators too. I mean, in some exit interviews that I previously done, that was a huge pain point for them, is waiting for maintenance and not just being frustrated that you can't fix something that is broken in the time that you need, because they have to make their production numbers too.
Exactly.
So it kind of increases from a culture and just a workforce perspective, that stress on them to get it done, and the efficiency of that. And just, I would imagine just the morale is increased as well.
Yeah, when you walk through the factory, there's a lot of smiling factory operators and techs. And they love their job. They do a great job.
There's got to be some ownership too, right? If I am an operator and all I'm doing is, once again, like you said, Ed, you're responsible for this output, right? And you can almost feel helpless. You're so dependent, this maintenance team or this issue with the equipment. And my type of brain, I guess, is I immediately start troubleshooting things on site, but not everyone has that kind of background to do so. So I think like having that, I own this equipment, I have familiarity with all these. Yeah, I think that's really impressive, Jack. I really like what you guys are doing there.
Yeah. Super.
Absolutely. Yeah. You really do have to put yourself in people's shoes and nourish that people first mentality, which kind of leads me into my next question about your own passion. And why are you so personally passionate about keeping people in the center of your company? What drives you to be that person that champions your people?
Well, I don't know. I'll give a lot of great credit to my parents, right? I think they were awesome role models for me. They were just these nice people, right? That's the one thing I knew about my mom and my dad. They were just the nicest people on the planet, and other people liked hanging out with them. So there was a role model there. And then I started in sales right out of college. My dad had a small business, so I worked in summers during high school and college with him. And I did a lot of jobs kind of on the way up to wherever up is right now for me. And I just learned all the value of everybody's contributions along the way with them, right? I just got grounded in the business and know what it takes to do all the different kinds of jobs, and know that it's complex and everybody's trying to do their best. And I just wake up every day thinking about that. I'm also one of these people, it's a simple story, right? I'm one of these people that says, look, there's a lot of bad crap going on in the world.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of good. And you just wake up every day and it's a choice, right? You can focus on one or the other.
Exactly.
And I just wake up focusing on the positive, because I really can't stand focusing on the negative. It makes me sad or mad or whatever. And so I don't like it. So I try to role model that for myself every day and stay away from the bad. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of have that same take sometimes. There's so much going on in the world. If you can make something easy and not complicated, because the rest of it is complicated.
Exactly.
Yeah, why not choose that path?
So, Jack, something that you said kind of gave me a question here. So, getting familiar with all the different types of jobs, right? And so 20 years ago, coming into Phoenix Contact, the profile of maybe a typical salesperson you might hire versus today, has that kind of changed from a more solution oriented mindset, or is it kind of stayed consistent there?
Well, I would say, Ryan, you know what we do, right? So we sell all these different kinds of products, right? So we are a product company, and we innovate on those products every year. So you may have seen on social media that we and others are bragging about our PushX technology for a terminal block. Hey guys, we invented the terminal block 100 years ago. It connected two wires 100 years ago. We just came out with PushX technology, and everybody's screaming it's the greatest terminal block they've ever seen. We keep innovating on product.
Okay, great.
So that's the first thing we do, right? Product. New. So now, what kind of people do I need? I need people that are technically trained and love products. Now, your point is solutions also, right? You put a whole bunch of them together, sell the solution to the customer. Yes, we've added that, but I don't hire only solutions people. We hire lots of technically trained people that love products, selling products, designing products, loving products, because we love products. So I would say, yes, we've added solutions people. The other thing we've added is we're no longer afraid to hire. Well, we never were afraid, but we've discovered a great group of people for us to hire are computer science majors.
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where they normally would end up in an IT environment, but we put them in a manufacturing environment, right?
Yes. I love
And
this idea.
and one of the best examples of that is we sell a cybersecurity device that you click into your control cabinet that will protect the control cabinet, not the whole network, not the big
Mhm.
network, but we will guard your machine
Okay.
guarding with a little cybersecurity device. Well, we love hiring computer science people that love that, right? And then when we sell an industrial PC or something in PLC Next that's based on open software,
Mm-hmm.
computer science majors are really great for that. And they will never work in it. No, they don't have to. They don't have to work in an IT department, or they can go work in an IT department, but they can have an alternative career choice to work in manufacturing or design or marketing or sales of an IT embed type device, right? Where there's a bunch of IT in the device. So that's a new development over the last 5 or 10 years. We've added computer science to our recruiting specs, if you will.
I think that's amazing because I feel like there are boxes in recruiting that can no longer exist. I mean, when you're looking at recruiting talent for the manufacturing industry, I mean, we are so like just blinders on. They have to have an electrical engineering degree, they have to have a mechanical engineering degree, you know, they have a technical degree in, you know, mechanical, electrical. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
have
Yeah.
been so focused that we're missing so much other talent from degree fields out there. And when we're considering those candidates for these roles that we have, we're opening up a whole lane of recruiting opportunity. So kudos to you for kind of breaking down the boxes
Yeah.
across the board.
So I
Yeah.
would say that's about it. The rest of it on the recruiting side is still a traditional, chasing the disciplines and finding the great people.
The consistency there, Jack, once again, they have to love what they're selling, right? Because when I'm in a meeting or when I'm getting pitched, right, I can really feel the excitement. Like you can feel the energy go up when it's like talking about a machine vision system, a terminal block, industrial PC, right? They're like, oh, let me show you this. I use it at my house. I automated my backyard with this. And they're telling you all these side projects. It's like, this must be awesome, right?
Yeah.
I need to check this
Yeah.
out. And so loving product, loving solutions, or being interested in that cybersecurity aspect, it's great to feel that kind of passion. But yeah, that come through there.
You bet.
Well, I have one more question for you, Jack, if you have just a little bit more time left with us here
Sure.
today. I have to know, given the next product and all of that,
Mhm.
what is next for Phoenix Contact and what's next for Jack?
So what's next for Phoenix Contact? We'll do that. So we have been a world leader in terminal block and connectivity in the factory floor and in devices that go on the factory floor. Of course, there's a lot of PC boards with terminal blocks on them as well. And we clearly are a world leader in that technology. If you went back 40 years ago, people would have been worried that that was going to go away, right? So everybody was going to use wireless and network devices and you weren't going to need a terminal block anymore. Well, we couldn't have been more wrong.
Yes.
But what drove us back in those days was to make sure we were embracing the newer technologies that could wipe out a terminal block, which
Mhm.
didn't. So moving forward, where is Phoenix going? Phoenix Contact going? So we will continue to be the world leader in connectivity in the factory floor. But as people would study us and see the things we've added to our portfolio of products, we are now a continuous flow across the DIN rail, as we would say, right? So you have this DIN rail that has the PLC on it, that has a power supply, that has a surge protector, that has a signal conditioner, that has relays, that has terminal blocks, has circuit breakers. So you go across that rail. What we as Phoenix are finding is we make so many of those things that our customers are saying, wait a minute, I didn't realize you made that. Wait a minute, I didn't realize you made that. Wait a minute. And so then they start buying more and more of our products because the products are fantastic, because they like working with our teams of people, the people side of it. They love working with us. And what we learned is their confidence was growing in their solution when they knew they were getting most of it, if not all of it, from Phoenix Contact.
Mm-hmm.
So then we thought about that several years back and said, wait a minute. We've also learned something that we never talk about, and that is that our products almost never fail. They just don't fail.
Mm-hmm.
So we added about a bunch of years ago a limited lifetime warranty on the product, which basically says if you buy our product, you have a lifetime warranty. That's the limited part. It's not limited really. And the limited part is making sure you wire it correctly, right? So if you miswire it, I can't protect it. But anyway, so now we offer a lifetime warranty for the products. And all of this is driving to an answer to your question. And the answer to your question is what Ryan mentioned earlier. We at Phoenix need to continue to evolve into a complete solutions provider because we have most of what is needed for the solution, and the customers have the confidence in us to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So now we have to meet that expectation since they have the confidence that we could be their solution provider. We have to make sure we are their solution provider. And becoming a really valued and trusted solution provider is as serious as great product manufacturer that they can rely on your product, right? So I would say that's a long way to say that Phoenix Contact will continue to evolve as a great solutions provider throughout manufacturing and industry and infrastructure of this world. The other thing we're a big believer in is trying to solve the world's climate change crisis. And what we all believe in is an all-electric society of the future, right? And so you'll see Phoenix Contact taking a much more upfront, out front position to try to get us to accelerate the solutions for an all-electric society and really make it a sustainable world for our grandkids and their kids. So that's what you'll see from Phoenix Contact. And then what you'll see from me is all of the same that you've seen in the past. I plan on not changing, meaning trying to do the best that I can for my team, trying to be a solid leader for my company, and also just trying to build, as Ann has seen, I'm trying to do my part in building a community that's greater than Phoenix Contact. It's greater than any one company, where we promote the goodness of manufacturing. We promote the great careers people can have in manufacturing. And as we mentioned a little bit pre-call, what's so exciting is this resurgence of manufacturing in our country. So I will just continue to be a big supporter of that theme and do whatever I can to help the greater manufacturing community continue to solve these great problems in our country and in the world.
Absolutely. I don't think you should change a thing. I think you are on the path, and I think it's working. And I think, you're really bringing that dream to life. So
awesome.
Yeah. Jack, I really appreciate having you on the show today. It means the absolute world to me. And I know
my
Ryan
honor,
as well.
My honor. My honor. My honor.
For those that are interested in learning more about the amazing human Jack, what's a good method to reach out to you? How can folks contact you or contact Phoenix Contact?
So phoenixcontact.com is our website. So if you want to learn about the company in any way, please go explore, discover, and give us feedback if we can help you. Me personally, as you know, and LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn, pretty easy to find. My name is Jack Nehlig, and it's spelled on the screen, so I should have no trouble. Good news is there's not more than one Jack Nehlig on LinkedIn so far, so that's good. And then my email address is jnehlig@phoenixcontact.com. And if you send me an email, I will promise to respond to it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jack. We really appreciate it. Ryan, as always, I appreciate you as a guest co-host.
Yes, thank you.
And Ann, thank you for inviting me and allowing me to help you and this community prosper. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jack. And thank you to everybody who's listened today. Reach out to Jack if you have any more questions about what Phoenix Contact does, or if you just want to get to know Jack on a more community-based level. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time.